This is the very last lesson of the entire course. And I'm going to tell you why I know you are going to help your child. Because you are not going to give up. You love your child too much to quit. You love your family too much to quit. You are not going to give up. And that is why you're going to help your child. Let me tell you about some parents that I worked with. Their children were overreactive and very disrespectful. So we started working through the steps. Right off the bat, the parents saw results. Their children's behavior started to radically change. So the parents, they stopped coming to see me. They didn't finish the last steps. And a few months later, they're right back in my office. And they're telling me not only had things gone back to the way they were, but it was even worse. And when I asked them about it, they said, well, we ask our kids to do stuff, and they don't do it. So then we warn them, and we warn them again, and we tell them we're going to do something if they don't do it. They still don't do it. So we get angry at them, and they don't change their behavior. So we've just been doing it for them, and now we're angry, they're angry, we're fighting, we're yelling, it's conflict, it's worse than what it was before. And I explained to them, they had gone right back to what they were doing before. They're taking the easy way. They've fallen in the old patterns. They had some success, and I guess they thought that would keep going, but it didn't. It went right back to where it was. So this time, they followed through with all the steps, and they figured out how to make the change last. We got things back on track, and we moved forward. Now, I want to explain something to you. I did not make this course so that you could have a temporary change in your child's behavior, so things could get better for a little while and then go back to the way they were. I made this course so you would know a way to create a lasting change, that you would be able to help your child not only now, but for the rest of their time that you have influence in their life. The way that you make a lasting change is that you make this a part of your life. It's not something that you try once, get some change, and then quit and go back to the old way. This needs to be a part of the way you parent from this point forward. See, children are always going to push boundaries. Your children are always going to push your boundaries. And they expect you to teach them by enforcing those boundaries. As soon as you let up on the boundaries, as soon as there's no follow through, your kids are going to take it too far. Happens every time. So consistency is the key. Now the good news is, the more you do this, the easier it gets. Your children come to expect that you are going to keep them in line, that you are going to teach them, that you are going to have fun with them. So you've got to make this a part of your language. Make this a part of your life. Use that language about the line, about what is appropriate, what's not appropriate, what's appropriate. Let them know where that line is. Talk about it consistently. Talk about their choices. Keep bringing up those choices. You have this choice, this choice. What are you going to choose? Teach them through those choices and follow through, because otherwise it doesn't mean anything. Follow through with the result. It is their responsibility, their choice, their result. Follow through. And most importantly, have fun with them, right? Celebrate their success. Praise them for the good choices they make. Show them why everyone is doing this in the first place, right? The more you do it, the easier it gets. All right, I want to teach you one last point that goes right in line with all of this. There are going to be cycles and patterns that happen in your kid's life, and I want you to be prepared for this. Because what I see happen with a lot of parents is their kids move into a new life phase and they start showing the same old behavior, the old overreactive behavior, and the parents go, oh, we're back where we started. No, you're not. Let me explain this. Right now, your children are going to learn how to control their mood. They are going to learn how to make good choices. They're going to learn how to handle life at this point in life. How to make the decisions to make things go well. They're going to figure that out. And then life is going to change. It could be in a month. It could be in a year. Definitely in a year, right? Their social group is going to change. They're going to have to learn new behaviors there. Schoolwork is going to get harder. You are going to expect more from them. They're going to have more responsibilities. They're going to have more pressures. Life is going to change. And what happens when your children don't know how to handle life in that moment, when they don't know how to make the good choices, you see the same kind of behavior come up. you see them get more moody. You see them get more snappy. They get more disrespectful, or they isolate more. They start to make bad choices because they don't know how to handle life at this point. So that's not a reason to get really worried. It's a time to go back to the basics. It's time to talk about boundaries. It's time to talk about the choices that your kids make and make sure they know how to make the good choices. Teach them, help them through the process. That might be a time where you need to get a little bit more strict and say, hey, we're going to tighten things up until you learn this, and then we're going to let you make some good choices. Then we're going to give you some more freedom. But you follow the same things. Those patterns and those cycles happen for every child and every parent. And I don't want you to be caught off guard. That's why you stay consistent. That's why you make this a part of your language moving forward. I've had many parents say to me that I make it look so easy, and I seem to know the right thing to say to their kids and the right thing to do in every situation. That's because I've been doing this for years and years and years. I've worked with thousands of kids, thousands of families, and I know what works. But reality is, when you are face to face with an overreactive, disrespectful, poor choice-making child or children, that is not easy for anybody, including myself. You know, there's so much pressure on parents now to get it right, to be these amazing parents. Well, I'm telling you, it's impossible to get it right all the time. And there are times in your life where you're not getting much right at all. You know, it's not as important that you get it right as it is that you don't give up, that you keep trying and you keep trying. And that's what's going to mean something to your kids. They're not going to remember all these moments when you just got it all right. They're going to remember the times that you and your children were really struggling. They were making bad choices. They were driving you crazy. It was a very difficult time, and you didn't quit. You didn't give up on them. You loved them too much to quit. That's what's going to matter. And that is what is going to keep things moving forward. And that's why I know you're going to be able to help your child. I want to leave you with a story. I worked with a mom and her 12-year-old son, and her son was very overreactive. She told me that ever since he was a toddler, his behavior was out of control. She's had to pull him out of 3 different schools just because of his behavior. And he never lasted more than a few weeks on sports teams. They would kick him off just because they couldn't handle him. And he had no friends, he was doing poorly in school, no self-esteem. By the time I met him, he was a 12-year-old boy who already hated his life. So we jumped right in, and I started showing this mom how to help her son, how to work through the steps. And she saw progress. She saw a change in his behavior, and even in the way that he was seeing himself. And as she saw this happening, she realized something. She realized that the things that she was teaching him, she wasn't doing these things in her life. She didn't have clear boundaries. She didn't have boundaries in relationships. She wasn't looking at her own choices and where they were taking her. And when she was making a good choice, she wasn't giving herself the time to celebrate that or feel good about herself. So she made a decision. Not only was she going to help her son, but she was going to help herself. She was going to start taking care of herself. And what she found out is the more that she took care of herself, the more she had to give to others. The more she was able to help her son, to help her family, to help her friends. I want to encourage you. You are important. You matter. And this is not just an opportunity for you to help your children. This is a time when you can help yourself, when you can focus in on yourself. You know, those things that you know that you need to be doing for yourself to be the kind of person that you want to be and live the kind of life that you want to live, it's time to start doing those. And you're going to find the same thing, that not only are you helping yourself, but you're going to have more to give to others. And I want that for you. So whatever those things are, maybe it's time to call up a friend and say, I'm going to make some different changes. I'm going to make some changes in my life. Maybe you start reading some books that you know are going to inspire you. Maybe you take that time to look at yourself and the choices you're making and say, I want something better. Whatever it is. You know, even if you want to invest the time and the money to go to a counselor that's going to help you get unstuck, it's worth it. You are worth it. And I want that for you. It has been an honor to help. It has been an honor to make this course for you. And I want to thank you for watching. And I want to congratulate you for finishing the course. Take time to share what you have learned with other people. And one last thing. If you need some extra encouragement, I made a video in the bonus section and I want you to check that out. So thank you and goodbye. This is probably when I should cut off the camera. Or I could play my guitar and sing a song. I just happen to have a guitar right here.